Okay. So we understand then, since a vertex is here, and since this comes from shifting our stretched graph, h units and k units, the coordinates of this have to be our h and k. So our a times x minus h squared plus k model is a times x minus 10 squared plus 6. Now we have to find a, and then we have our function. How do we find a? Well, let's write this as y equals a times x minus 10 squared plus 6, and then we use any point. Except the vertex, because we already used it. We wouldn't gain any information. If we used the vertex, the x minus 10 squared would become 0, and we'd have 0a, and we wouldn't be able to solve for a. Okay? So what point do you want to use? Somebody give me a point in the graph. Whatever you give me, that's what we're going to use.
Oh, no.
2, 0.
Give me two coordinates.
2, 0.
2, 0. Okay, so we want to use 2, 0. Okay, well, at 2, 0, x is 2, right?
Yes.
So we're going to get a times 2 minus 10 squared plus 6. What's our y coordinate?
0.
0, so that equals 0. That should be easy to solve. And it is. Okay? So we solve that for a. Well, 2 minus 10, and I'm going to switch sides here. I'm going to say a times 2 minus 10 is a times negative 8 squared plus 6, then should equal 0, right? Which means 64a plus 6 equals 0, which means 64a equals negative 6, and a equals negative 6 over 64, which is negative 3 over 32, which is approximately 0.1, but a little less because 32 is a little bigger than 1. So I'm going to say it's maybe 0.1. I'm going to say 0.11 because I'm just going to round off to that point. Okay? And it's not 0.11, it's 0.09. My approximation went in the wrong direction. Okay, so a is 0.09. And it could take it to more significant figures. 2 significant figures is usually good. Okay? So, our model is, I love to use red chalk.
This is important.
Approximately 0.09 times x minus 10 squared plus 6. Now we could expand that, put it into the standard form of a quadratic, okay? Now the general form, sorry. This is the standard form. Now, what if we wanted to answer some of these questions? How do we answer the question of the value of f of 0.3 times max x? Well, first of all, max x is 20, 0.3 times max x is 6, right? So how did we do with our estimate? Well, let's check it out. It's very straightforward.